And thanks for joining us here on WNY News Now Facebook Live as we look on to a stay-at-home protest here in the city of Jamestown that's happening at Dow Park, which is directly across from the James Prendergast Library, where residents from all across the area have gathered today to voice their displeasure with New York State's pause order. And specifically, one of the main points is that many businesses, which were deemed non-essential, were forced to close part of the order. And a number of people, at this point it looks like we got about 50 to 75 who are gathered here and Dow Park across from Prendergast Library as they continue to protest the New York pause order. I want to bring in Garrett Kane, who is one of the spokespersons for this event. Thank you, sir, for joining me today here on Facebook Live. Why are you here at this protest and specifically leading the event a little bit today?
Yeah, Justin, I think it's important, and I'm certainly concerned about the virus, and I certainly take it seriously, but I also take the United States Constitution and our natural rights seriously as well. And I think there's some economic and overall mental and societal health issues that are coming as a negative to these broad shutdown measures.
And in regards to the shutdown, New York State really since day one has taken a very proactive approach in shutting down the entire state, even though some counties didn't necessarily have cases yet. In regards to what Governor Cuomo has been doing as a leadership, how do you see his response and judge that?
Tyrannical comes to mind. I don't think you can manage this type of crisis in a state that's so large and so diverse as New York State. And when you look at the variance between the number of cases from area to area and county to county, it doesn't make sense to have these mandates that are tailored to New York City, which is the worst case scenario in the entire world, applied to areas like Jamestown, New York, where businesses around here got out in front of it before the governor issued some of these mandates and were doing the responsible thing. And I think the whole strategy of making an essential and non-essential list is crazy because everybody that works relies on their income to pay their bills and to support the people that they love. To have one man decide who gets to work and who has to go on the public dole, to me, is insane. I think we can do better by business owners being responsible. I think society and their concern for this virus will drive those businesses and support the ones that are being responsible and pressure the other ones to make adjustments. And we're not saying everything needs to open up right now. Grandma probably shouldn't start going to bingo again. We probably all shouldn't pile back into our favorite dive bars. But there are a lot of people out here that are ready and willing to get back to work, and they can get back to work safely, and we need to give them the freedom to do that.
Is that the hope of the protest today, to be able to communicate this to leaders in Albany and say that we're ready to reopen, let's do it?
Yeah, reopen responsibly and break this top-down control, and let's give the counties a little bit more say in how they manage things in their county. I think our local leaders have been doing a great job. I just wish their hands would be a little bit more untied so they can communicate with the healthcare professionals, communicate with the business leaders, and make strategies and solutions that work for Chautauqua and Cattaraugus County.
In regards to regional reopening, what's the best plan that you would like to see as a resident of Chautauqua County?
Well, I think we're getting there with testing. I went and got an antibody test in Dunkirk the other day, and I think that's huge to give people peace of mind. But I think ultimately, like I said, the local business leaders should sit down and discuss with the local healthcare experts and the professionals at the local hospital, and they should develop the strategies for the region. And like I said, society is going to determine who's doing it right, who's doing it wrong, and that message is loud and clear locally versus a convoluted message that's coming down from the top from someone who's trying to do this impossible task of integrating information from all over a huge, diverse state.
Garrett Kane, one of the protesters, spokesperson today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming down, Justin. Everybody out there, we love you. You're essential. Stay safe.
Thank you. Let's switch around here, and I'll walk the protest line to kind of show you what some of the signs that people are holding. So this is Dow Park, and this is one of the playgrounds that one of the many that was closed by city officials weeks ago in an attempt to stop the spread of COVID-19 within children in the city. So we have some protesters who have lined the street on Washington Street, but the majority of them here are lining up in front of the James Prendergast Library in Dow Park, and there's a pretty good cluster of them here, but a lot of them are holding various signs with meaning to them. As we walk down the protest route, we thank you so much for joining us here for WNY News Now special coverage of a stay-at-home protest that's here in Jamestown. Now, this is one of many that are taking place right now across New York State. There is a protest happening that happened at noon today and continuing now in Albany. That is led by the Constitutional Coalition of New York. There's also protests that took place in New York City, in Buffalo, Syracuse, and Rochester, and even small towns like here in Jamestown. So we see a lot of people here really trying to get the sense of the traffic, certainly, and a lot of young children here, too, as well, that are out here with their parents protesting the New York pause, and a lot of them are even doing a chant now. Let's listen.
Back to normal. Thank you. Without Allison break. Thank you.
Also, the WHO, the World Health Organization, today is not recommending lockdowns. They're saying it didn't really do anything, and we aren't recommending that now. And now the numbers are proving this is less deadly than influenza. So the lockdown is what's killing people, not the virus. That's the jig is up, Cuomo.
Woo! Okay, let us know this, baby.
The jig is up. Janice, sights.
Okay, so
Thank
we've got
you.
something more.
So again, WNY News Now Facebook Live coverage of the protest here as we try to get a shot of it. Now, we did talk to Sheriff Jim Quattrone last week during the county's press conference update, and you say Jamestown police are here and they're monitoring the situation. But Sheriff Quattrone was actually in support of peaceful protesting as long as they tried to follow social distancing to the best they can. We see some people here with masks, but not too many. In fact, there's law enforcement there monitoring this as they kind of see what's happening. But they do get a lot of feedback from people who are driving by. Lots of different voices coming, honks and things like that, and a lot of people are kind of having the same message where they're very displeased in Governor Andrew Cuomo's handling of this. That contrary to a Siena poll which was issued this week, which said that over 50% of people in the state supported the governor and his handling of COVID-19. So again, we are reporting live from Dow Park in Jamestown. If you're just joining us, Justin Gould here on WNY News Now with live coverage of this coronavirus stay-at-home protest, as many Jamestown residents here and residents from pretty much all over the area are taking to the streets, voicing their displeasure against the COVID-19 New York pause order, which was issued a little over a month ago, which kind of divided businesses into some that are essential and those that are not essential. The pause order is set to expire on May 15th. Governor Andrew Cuomo actually talked about that today when he was asked by a reporter. They asked if the governor plans to have the order extended and when he would initiate that. And he said that he would announce an extension prior to the May 15th deadline. However, he did not respond to that reporter's specific question about if he would extend it. Now, the governor, if you remember, has appointed Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul as the head of Western New York's reopening, and Senator George Borrello and State Assemblyman Andy Goodell, both right here from Chautauqua County, did release a plan a few weeks ago outlining that we should be taking a regional approach to reopening in New York State. And the state did follow suit in providing a modified version of that plan. And we actually have coverage of that posted on WNYNewsNow.com right now. So again, we'll switch the camera once more. And we'll show you more spread out over here on Washington Street, at the corner of Washington and West 6th now, here in the city of Jamestown, where people at Dell Park, a playground that was recently closed by city officials because they wanted to stop the spread of COVID-19. As you see, many people out here today, a little over 50 now by my count of folks, along 6th and Washington, getting the attention of the crowds and protesting against New York's pause order here in the state. Let's see here. Hopefully everyone is having a good day, and we thank you so much for joining us. And an interesting note, too, a lot of families are here today protesting the pause order. And as Garrett Kane, he's one of the event spokespersons, he told me that he is in belief that every worker is essential because a lot of them have families to support. Hey, Mel, do you mind if I interview you? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Joining us now is Mel McGinnis, who is here at the protest today. Sir, why are you out here today?
I'm out here for freedom, for businesses to operate as they think they should operate freely, and having that decision-making power be restored to them. The virus is not the cause of the ruination of many livelihoods. The ruination is due to the lockdown. And if we continue to stay locked down, it'll crush the economy. And crushing the economy, I think, will do far more devastation than a virus.
And you have been outspoken with your work with the Tea Party here in Chautauqua County for quite some time, and outspoken against New York's Democratic-controlled legislature and executive seat as well. Seeing how Governor Cuomo has handled to this, and I was actually referencing a CNN poll earlier in our live broadcast here, how the majority of the state seems to support his response. But it seems like today, with the voices that we're hearing from Chautauqua County, a lot of people are displeased. When you first saw that poll, what was your reaction to it, and what is your response to the governor's handling? How do you think he's doing?
Oh, I don't think he's doing a very good job at all. Where was the preparation for the ventilators? Instead of purchasing ventilators, what did he buy? Solar panels. When the federal government, through Donald Trump, brought in the ship and opened up that Jacob Javits Center, what happened? It wasn't even used. So I feel like the mayor of New York City, as well as the governor, really dropped the ball in preparation when we were told we're all prepared for this. No, they weren't. If they didn't have, I feel, the backing of the federal government at that time, it would have been even worse. So I feel like the media, national media, makes Cuomo looks good. And that's why the polls are up, because it's the way they are posturing it for his sake.
And in regards to reopening, when the state first initiated the pause order, there were some counties who didn't even have COVID-19 confirmed cases yet. But it affected everybody from here to Long Island. And now the reopening process, which is an interesting fact, is actually coming from locals here in Chautauqua County.
Right. See, if the virus was concentrated here in Western New York, would Cuomo have shut down New York City? No, he wouldn't have. But because New York City was in the issue it had, it like the one-size-fits-all policy was imposed upon all of us who didn't have the problem as bad as the city did.
And final question, and we thank you for talking to us today. Seeing your neighbors, your friends, complete strangers out here today, what does that mean to you?
I'm very encouraged because I feel like there's people out here who value freedom and liberty, as well as a business saying we are the ones who should decide what is safe, what is not safe, not some bureaucrat up in Albany dictating to us what should be done.
All right, Mel McGinnis with the Tea Party here in Chautauqua County. Mel, thank you for talking to us. Stay well.
Thank you, Justin.
So again, you're watching live coverage on WNY News Now of the stay-at-home protest here at Dow Park in Jamestown. Let's reset. Justin Gould here. And we have folks who are lining the street from Washington Street to West 6th Street at Dow Park across from Prendergast Library for this 3 o'clock protest. And I would say the number has grown from around 50 to maybe about 75 now out here as this protest continues to grow in number. They have people stretching from all the way down behind me to all the way up to West 6th Street. Everyone from small business owners to families out here today who are protesting against the New York pause order here in Chautauqua County. And there are a ton of people out here today and really upset. But the light at the end of the tunnel, which a lot of them have told me, is they hope the reopening will come sooner than later. And as I mentioned earlier, Governor Andrew Cuomo was asked about that today. When will we reopen? Will he extend that May 15th pause order? He said he'd announce something before May 15th. We, of course, will keep you updated right here on WNY News Now. Reporting from Dow Park in the city of Jamestown, I'm Justin Gould for WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.